Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something very fundamental to the game, something that I think has been a bit in flux, and that is energy. So energy is, kind of the lifeblood of this game for people. It's regenerating all the time. It's what makes you want to log in, make sure you're not wasting it. Like even right here, I have maxed out my mod energy. I don't know how much I've wasted since it hit the cap, but it's something that I was always kind of, as I started playing this most recent time, started in 2019. It was a while ago. It's always been a truism, like an automatic, that you want to use your crystals on refreshes as a primary thing. And if you've at least done all your single round of refreshes in a day, then after that, that's what you save your crystals for. But I don't think the math is the same anymore. I think there's been huge change ups since the instantiation of tokens everywhere. It really changes the considerations for gear, for shards, for crystals with Colosseum and getting 5-star characters being a huge bump. So it's not quite as straightforward as it is used to be. So I want to talk about energy management, how you get your energy, how many crystals you should spend on it, and what you should spend the energy on. But before we dive into this fully, you know what else uses energy? Lightsabers. Everybody, today's sponsor is pretty sick. We have from Saber Universe 3 new lightsabers. We have the new Dark Saber and 2 of Ahsoka Tano's white sabers, both available with personalized engraving. If you order by May 31st, I went with Sanjita. The quality of these things is amazing. The hilt is made out of aluminum. The blade is made out of a polycarbonate. And there's just so much functionality there. And these lightsabers aren't just for display. They have realistic sound effects. Contact, they are meant for battle. They're dueling grade. You hit them together, it's going to sound like it's deflecting a blaster. Just really cool stuff. One of my favorite features is you can change colors. There's about 10 different colors or something, so you can go all over the place. If you want to take advantage of that personalized engraving, order by May 31st at midnight. The Darksaber normally lists at about $300, but it's $250 for this month and another 10% off with my code SNGTA10. You can also get both of Ahsoka Tano's white sabers normally for $330 on sale to about $280 plus another 10% off if you use my code, or a single of Ahsoka's lightsabers getting down to around $144. Don't miss out. Take advantage of that personalized engraving and those discounts. Order by May 31st using my link or scanning the QR code. Thanks. All right, thanks guys, and check it out. So first thing is, how do we go about managing our energy? One thing I think everyone should start the day with is go to the web store, pick up their web store mystery chest. This is linked to your email with the game. You can go on a web browser, on a computer, or on a phone. Personally, for me, I just have a tab open on my phone. I just make sure I go do it each day before logging in for the first time. You get that web package, and also the Kessel Run. You're gonna get each day 100 free energy. So it's just really nice, and then you're working up towards other rewards. So with this May the Force chase, we had a couple of energy ticks along the way, and here eventually, after you've hit the Kessel Run enough, you'll get a free tranche of 200 normal energy and 200 Cantina Energy. Really great stuff. So those are some free available tranches along the way, and then you also have your free energy at different times throughout the day. You have the triple one that's mod, Cantina, and normal. You have one later in the day that's ship and normal, and then the final one in the day that's just your regular energy. So refreshes. Which energies do I think you want to refresh? It really depends on where you're at in the game. I think new players really should be prioritizing your normal energy refreshes, and that's for farming characters and ships. More specifically ships, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. I think everyone along the way should be probably using all their mod refreshes. And then fleet is the one that kind of tapers off the fastest. It becomes less of a mandatory necessity once you have all those characters from fleet energy, and once you just don't have anything in particular you need, or if you're good on gear and you're not needing a huge stockpile kind of falls off. But Cantina and mods are the last thing I'll sacrifice. I think the one you do first, you always use your Cantina Energy first. So I would say 3 refreshes of Cantina and 3 refreshes of mods is your first priority throughout the lifetime of the game, other than new when you're trying to make sure you get all the character shards or ship shards. But like for me, when I am trying to hoard crystals for something else, I will give up my normal energy and my fleet energy. It's something that has a diminishing return, and with tokens, the returns just can kind of fall off a cliff at a certain point. So from the perspective of a new player, I think one of the most important things you're going to want to use your normal energy on is actually ship shards. Character shards are also important, but with tokens, you can skip, the first 6 stars of a character if you get an Iridium Lightspeed token, which are pretty easy to get, especially with how they've boosted up rewards in Coliseum. So take Boss Gear. These Bounty Hunter nodes are great examples. These go for Millennium Falcon unlock. You need the Bounty Hunter ships. Executor unlock. Really big early game focuses, mid game or whatever. And it's nice they've rearranged things where the pilots are on the same node as the ship. Now, if you are trying to work on that fleet, I would say, you get the either the Iridium token or the Carbonite token. At the very least, you get the character going, and you're going to be farming a lot longer for the ship. So the majority of the farm, you're going to be just getting, you're going to get charge up currency from extra boss shards of getting the Houndstooth. But why I say ships as a huge priority is you can't token them right now. You have to do it the hard way, and they are not accelerated. And it is something that is very easy for new players to be tempted to skip because it feels bad. It's 1 shard instead of 2. You need 330 of them to be done, and it takes forever. But that is what I think is the most fundamental thing you need to do with your normal energy. Rogue One is something I'm farming this on my GoTanks account. This Y-Wing, if you're going for a Galactic Republic fleet, super helpful. But then also, if you already have a character's Iridium token or you got them to 6 stars and you want to go from there, that's when you want to use the normal energy. But it's become clear to me that starting an early farm, like say you're new and you want to get Starkiller, you could start farming Barra Jade really early, but then if you ever along from the path of 0 shards to 230, which would be 6 stars, if you ever decide to do a Lightspeed token, skip the process and get it to Relic 5, that farming would have been wasted. So it's really hard to balance as a new player, but I'd say ships are the first priority. And it can get confusing because there's a lot of ships on normal energy nodes and a lot of ships on fleet energy nodes. I'll look at the fleet because there's a lot less there to work with. This is my GoTanks favorites right now. 4 ships, all 4 of them are on normal energy. Ultra Droid is almost done, so maybe I'll actually get it right here for the video. Okay, I got it. I've been working on this for a long time, a very long time. It's a cheap node, but it's a great farm. The pilotless ships are fantastic. You don't need to build up anything underlying it. And what I've just been thinking about, I used to, for my normal energy, I had this tab with farms, and I'd have a bunch of characters I was farming with normal energy, fleet energy, Cantina Energy, what's in line. But I just kind of stopped using this because I'm like, I'm going to token a character, and then like when I really need to get them 7 stars, I'll work on them after that. But then, as I keep saying, ships, there's none of that. I just recently added Emperor Shuttle to farm because it's a great flexible ship. It's Empire, it's Sith. You can use it with Leviathan or Chimera, Executrix, and it's a great. It's got a lot going for it. It's a difficult farm. It's a 20 energy node, but that's something you're not going to regret because the only way you can skip the line on things like this is Lightspeed bundles, and those aren't free. And I like to advise people on free-to-play tactics. So in my world of like playing Galaxy of Heroes, there's no way to skip that. So that's why it's the #1 thing to use for normal energy and for fleet energy. Like I said, there's just not too many nodes on fleet. So those are the first things. You're going to knock them out eventually. You're going to get done with all the big farms you need to do. Raven's Claw is a big one, I think, for newer players because the Home 1 fleet is so strong. Boba Fett ship, although there's some shipments on it. Outrider's big. Marauder's huge. For Galactic Republic fleet start, and I think Galactic Republic fleet, Rebel fleet, both valid options. So Marauder huge, but that's all early game. perspective, that's what you do first. If you're an end game player or a late game player, you start farming for the gear that you want. Normal energy it's a lot less cut and dried as it has been in the past, because unlike for the longest time, this was for the longest time always the go-to node. And it is still good because of Kyrotech. But you would get Kyrotech, you'd get this piece for bronzium wiring. But why that is no longer as slam dunk of a node is because of it actually a quality of life improvement. We can buy this bronzium wiring on this carbon circuit boards for tier 1 raid currency. And we have tons of it. I think most accounts can get past the point where these are your bottlenecks. You don't have to have an infinite amount. You just have to have enough to where that's not the thing preventing you from ranking up another level. I think for a lot of accounts, it's either signal data preventing them from level up. That's like an early game or mid game bottleneck. And a really late game, you start getting bottlenecked by your high end gear. Maybe not electrum conductors, but impulse detectors, or the keypads. That's the big bottleneck. So you want to think about what your bottleneck is. And because those little pieces aren't as valuable anymore, it's less of a concern what all these secondary drops are. So like this is another node that I normally love, because it's got a gear 12 piece. You can scrap it for it's either rhodium heat sinks or impulse detectors, but you have that as the primary, and then you have all these bonus things. But these don't matter as much anymore. You can also, these Mark III holo projectors are built for rhodium heat sinks. That's like the Relic 5 material. We have tons of that too for the tier 1 raid currency. So these little pieces, I don't think you need to think about them as much anymore. I think you just need to think about the primary piece you're going for. And Kyrotech is not only, it's one of the more difficult pieces of gear you need. You need a lot of it for any newer character if you're not tokening them. So if you're getting a character that's less than a year old, you're gearing them up, you need Kyrotech, you need lots of it. If you're doing a Journey Guide character, Conquest unit, you need a lot of Kyrotech. And then also for endgame, you want a lot of Kyrotech, because in the scavenger, that is what you can use to farm arrow magnifiers or droid brains. So kind of hyper valuable. And in the past, it was always kind of like, okay, you do your light side Kyrotech farm with energy, and then you buy the dark side Kyrotech, the computer, whatever you want to call it. The thought was you buy this with currency. Now, I don't think it matters as much because these secondary pieces are not really consideration for me personally anymore. Unless you're really new and there's pieces you just don't have. Like, I have like 800 of that. So I think you can farm these or pick them up with shipments interchangeably. I really don't think it makes as much of a difference anymore. As far as like the Gear 12 to Gear 13 gear, you are farming the left side of the character's gear with normal energy. So let me just pull up a Gear 12 character to show. So like B1 Battle Droid, this left side of the equation, like your bayonets, your chest plates, all that, this is found with normal energy. And whatever currency you're using. The right side of the equation, and this is where we'll transition to talking about fleet energy. This is, you buy all this, the direct farm with energy, which is the subject of this video. This is a Gear 12 Plus stuff. So this is with fleet. You also have your little purple pieces supporting. So like these, this is one that's very popular. There's multiple different pieces of gear that require it. This is in fleet as well. Also, one of the old heuristics I'd use for farming fleet nodes was the furnace node. I thought of as high value because it has all these little secondary pieces for carbon circuit boards and bronze and wiring. I don't care about that anymore. I really don't. It used to be that and this because they just have lots of extra pieces. It's just more bang for your buck. Do not care about these really anymore. What you should do, you need to be specific about who you're going to be farming up next. What piece do you need more of? Or if you're a late gamer, end gamer, you need to think about the scavenger. Zimbittles use that Gear 12 Plus support piece. I don't think this is as big of a bottleneck for most endgame players. So these are, lower priority to farm with your fleet energy. I do think the problem lies with Gerda keypads. So that's this data pad, the Mark 12, the furnace, and the stun gun. Now I would say farm primarily the furnace, not because the node has like a lot of extra stuff to it. It's just statistically, this is the most used Gear 12 Plus piece out there. So this is a good one to go with if you're just not sure one way or another. But with that energy, late game, end game, I don't refresh it necessarily. A lot of times I skip it. Like I said, mod energy, don't skip. Cantina, don't skip. But I will end up skipping fleet energy or normal energy if I don't have need of it. But that is more if you don't have a character to work on. So it kind of loops full circle. Early game, you want to make sure you're getting the core characters and ships. And since you don't really have much of anything, you focus on the accelerate characters that you can get faster. Maybe get just a lot more bang for your buck with it. For an endgame player, you want to be farming the new units. This is my GoTix account. I am not necessarily farming all the Era of Anniversary characters or the Era of Andor characters. But on my main account, yeah, I'm farming all of them. They're all going to go 7 stars because I have everything else done. So this is where you use your normal energy. And I end up using all 50 refreshes when I have those tranches. Once I finish all the Era of Anniversary, that's probably going to be, you know, a bit of a drought for normal energy until Era of Andor comes in. If you're going the 5-star route, you'll be getting those done faster. But it kind of loops around. Like you do the single shard farms as a brand new player with ships, and then as an endgame player, you're taking that because that's the only thing you don't have. But endgamers don't really need me to tell them that. They kind of already know that. But that's one of the most compelling uses for normal and fleet energy because they usually come out on those nodes. Next up, I want to talk about Cantina Energy. So this is the one you can never have enough of. So for new players, there's a lot of normal shard farming you have to do. And on my GoTanks account recently, going for Leviathan, I had to do an insane amount of ship shard farms. This was one of them, Ebon Hawk. Thankfully, they've been trending more towards putting the pilot on the node with the ship. But there was Ebon Hawk, there was Sith Fighter, there was Mark 6, all kinds of ships. But with Cantina, there's no limit on how many times you can hit the node, so you don't have to try to spread out the farm over time. Just when you really need it, you buckle down and you get it done. Any other time, you're going for signal data. This is a new consideration because we used to have one option with signal data. We had a single node for each type here in Sector 8. You can go this light blue or white, whatever you call it. You can go this green, this is the mid tier, and then the dark blue with progressively worse drop rates. If you want to, you can get a lot of this quickly. This is middle of the road, and then we have this. If you only need one piece of signal data, and I'm not an expert on the exact drop rates, you know, you go to Egnard for that probably. I don't know the exact drop rate or how to even talk in those terms, but I know if you want a lot of this blue and you have plenty of the green, plenty of the white, and you might because you can buy it with Guild Event tokens now or Guild Event currency. If you only need one, you come here. So that is, I need this a lot. So this is on my GoTanks account right now. I have 126 of this piece. I have 199 of this and only 40 of this. I might get to a scenario where I want to start farming green and blue, but right now I am hitting this node. And you also can get extra Zetas. And are you low on Zetas or are you low on Omicrons? That's a minor consideration. You don't drop too many. This is from, they just nerfed Ezra and gave back 60 materials. I didn't have this many, but I do. Oh, and Mara. No, I didn't have Mara on this account, but I have a lot of extra Omicrons. That don't pay attention to that. The drop rates are, you know, if you want a total volume, this is better, but it just depends. What do you need more of? If you need 2 at a time, these are better overall drop rates. You're going to get, if you just spent 2,000 energy and you wanted a bunch of blue and a bunch of green, you're better off going to this node than splitting between these two. So in the long run, I'd say it's more advisable to go with the Sector 9 nodes. They've shown pretty decent results. It costs 20 energy instead of 16, so you're spending more energy, but at the end of the day, it is better return. And I have seen the math on it. I don't understand it, but it is better. And you have any combination you want. There's only 3 types, so there's 3 different nodes. There's blue and green, blue and light blue, and green and light blue. So you can't really go wrong there. I don't think there's a lot of value in this node. I mean, if you really, really need Kyrotech, that's one thing, but I still think it's nice they added Grievous to Cantina. I still say get him with the Fleet Store currency. That's a lot cheaper. But Hoda, I'd say Hoda and Wampa, yeah, hit it from all sides. Use the raid currency, the guild event currency, and the Cantina Energy to get them done. Because you really want Wampa early, and then when you need Giant Luke, you know, you knock out Hermit Yoda when you need him. But you don't need to fully rush. There's a lot more flexibility now with Cantina Energy, but this is by far the most valuable. You can buy 3 energy refreshes at 100. It's the only one that costs 100 because I know it's valuable. And after that, there's 2 at 200. I will sometimes on my end game account, buy the 200s, mainly during double drops, triple drops. Other than that, I don't think it's super worth it. But signal data is something, even if you think you have a lot of, you probably don't have enough of, so you always want to be going for signal data. And my recommendation is Sector 9 for that. And last, but certainly not least, we're going to be talking about mod energy. So first off, I already said, I think everyone should at least do the 50 refreshes. It should be the last thing you sacrifice other than Cantina. Question is, do you do all the 50s or do you do all the 100s too? I do think the value can be there to spend the 100 refreshes. I do think that's more of an endgame concern. And I do think that is more of a sweaty concern. You're going to get a lot of good mods through the life cycle of an account just by doing the 50s. But you're also, of course, going to get more if you do more refreshes. What it comes down to me, though, for me, though, is less of an in-game resource question, like do you have crystals, and more about your patience and the time you have to mess around with mods, because it takes a lot of time. The lower the amount of time you have to mess around with your mods, the greater I'd recommend just using the mod battles. However, from an in-game resource standpoint, it's not a crazy return. Let's just do like 4 sims on this. See, I love this node because this is a piece in high demand. I happen to have a lot right now because I just hit a episode track milestone that gave me a lot of them. But this is, you need a ton of this. I don't so much need this because you're farming. Each node is having 2 major pieces. These 2 have also this little ancillary drop of the slice up to 6 dot piece, which is this. If you want to focus farm that, if you don't have a lot of 6 dot mods, you're just struggling, you want to get them up, these 2 are the ones for you. If you have plenty of 6 dot slicing mods, you have Smuggler's Run with Jabba, maybe even have Hondo for Smuggler's Run, the Smuggler's Run 3, and you just want to slice up the higher quality, you more so go for this. However, it's just not a good drop rate. It's going to take a lot to get enough, and as I showed, I got this on the episode track. You get a huge drop of them, and it's just, I don't even know how much energy it would take to get as many as you get from that, but it's pretty huge. So I don't think the bang for your buck is there on the energy, but the bang for your sanity, if that makes sense, is going with this, so you don't have to manage your inventory a lot. If you're a newer player, I think everything except probably this one is great value. So this is going from your green to your blue to your purple, or maybe not green to blue. Yeah, I don't know if it's green to blue, but your blue to purple, your purple to gold, you need tons of this. You need so much. See, I have 0. Right when I click it, 0. 246, I have plenty of these. What kind of helps the equation here, makes it easier to not have to go for that one, is they did up the volume, the amount you're getting with this in the raid store. These are the best currencies. Like, there's just, you get so much of it, so valuable. See, I already have 641 of this Mark 1 Fusion disc. I don't need to sink more into that. And it's going to be hard to get to a point where I do end up needing more of it. And this bonding pin, you need 10 to go from a gray mod to a green mod. It's not a concern. So pretty much everything other than this is decent value depending on where you're at. On my main account, I have tons of this. I'm never going to farm that. I also have more of these. It starts drifting over to the right. However, I think the best value, if you're just trying to go for the overall best quality body of mods you can, it is by far mod challenge, the old mod challenges now, farming actual mods. So up until recently, we had to spend 16 energy to get a mod. For actually the longest time, even before that, like people might not even remember this, you could get a 3-dot mod, a 4-dot mod, a 5-dot mod. You wouldn't know. But now, when we use our energy on this, you only need 10 energy per mod. You're going to get a mixed bag of value there. So there's a bunch of gray, there's green, there's blue. This is actually kind of a bad example. This is not a great takeaway. But the discount is huge, going from 16 energy per mod to 10, even if they're bad. And also, credits are a lot more free-flowing in the game. So I think the best approach from an in-game resources perspective is to get a lot of mods, sift through them. Most of these I'm looking at, I don't see anything valuable. For offense specifically, I want an offense primary on the cross. Defense, I'm not going to use that. Potency, probably not going to use that. You can just sell them right from here. If you want to, like, just not worry about it going back later, you can sell the ones you don't want. The squares, the circles, the diamonds, you get less info from a gray one. I do think it's worth slicing upgrades to level 12 if you have enough credits. Going through, but you can get an easy sense of where you, if you just do not care about a mod or not. Health primary, I probably don't have a use for that, especially since I don't see speed already. But I'll just use it in my normal big batch of mod filters to level everything up. If there's amazing secondaries, like there's so take this for example. It's a health primary, which, you know, I think of offense, but if you get an offense secondary, offense percentage secondary, and you get all 5 rolls, that's pretty close to what you get from a primary. You can get over 7% offense on a secondary. And then if you have health as a primary, you're getting 16% health, 7% offense, and then hopefully some speed in there. It could work. So theoretically, I just kind of like, we'll level all these up and see if it's there. If it's like defense, that's a terrible primary. I don't think there's any world in which I actually care about that. But, you know, you don't know what you're getting from the first run at this. You get a bunch. You're going to go through the leveling up later. Let's see if I hit the cap. We do not have much storage space in this game. We only can hold 500 mods off of characters at a time, which needs to go up. It so needs to go up. We have over 300 characters. We have... So, the game has grown so much since we had a 500 mod cap. It needs to go up. But this is where I get a little excitement. I see a gold mod, click on it. Is there speed? No, there's not speed. Get it out of here. I don't want it. If I know it doesn't have speed, get it out of here. Defense, offense and defense primary. I don't care about it. Get it out of here. And I'm glad they added this to the sell feature now. If this hits speed, it could be okay. For an offense mod, I want offense percentage secondary and I want speed. For the triangle offense, there's a place for that, or I want crit damage. There's health. I probably don't want it. It's gray mod. So I think the value is by far in this. And then you level them up. And I'd say, you know, being picky about your modding is less about, did you get 5 rolls of speed? As much as it is, do we have a high quality set of mods there? So for instance, let's highlight, I've been farming a lot of offense mods lately. Let's look at unassigned mods and let's see what has both speed and offense percentage. Since we have offense primaries and speed primaries on the arrow, the square, and the cross, let's just look at these 3 and see how many are fitting this mold. That's actually quite a lot. Sort by speed, and this is how we find good prospects. Because for offense mods, you don't just want the fastest character in the world. You do want that, but you want them to hit hard. So you want a lot of offense. 3 rolls of offense, 2 rolls of speed. Maybe not the highest quality on all of it. Yeah, that's not good. But it's only 10 speed, but I look at this as a great candidate to slice up. But that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the high quality spread out across the mod. And I think it's a lot more than just speed. High quality secondaries are percentages. For a lot of characters, health is a huge focus. Even protection. So I'd say these are the big 4 for me. Offense percentage, secondary, health, or speed, of course, is the biggest. Then offense percentage, then health, protection percentage. Defense percentage can be. That's kind of like a stretch one. Okay. Oh, I can't have all 4 at the same time. But flat defense is terrible. Health is terrible. Potency, situational. Tenacity, situational. You do want some of those. But really, these are the big four for me. So you're trying to see quality, and you're going to give yourself the maximum percentage chance to find that quality if you're using these your energy for the tier 1. So yeah, there's no limit on the value and the return you're going to get on mod energy. I don't know. I'm not a massive expert on mods, but give yourself the best chance to get as much as you can. And that is all the energy types. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover. There's little things to give a nod to, like at least spend 600 energy a day. It's any type of energy except Conquest energy. You're gonna help get your guild to your next round of raids. It's so easy. All you have to do is log on. If you haven't played for 24 hours and you log on, you're gonna get it. Just use all the energy there. Use like one refresh or something, and you've got it. Conquest energy. It's more of a greater than, less than equation. It's like, do you want more datacrons? Use more energy. Do you want to get your feats done faster? Use the energy. It's less of a balance. It's not like, oh, what can I farm with this energy? Although I will say Sector 4, if you're farming datacrons, is generally the best node because you're getting the Mark III, you're getting the Mark II, high in demand. Sector 3 is okay because you can get more. You can get more of this piece, which is really high in demand. For focused datacrons, it's evened it out more where you want the Mark III a lot. This tends to pile up quickly after a while, so you don't need to hit it. I'd say the most frequent hit is Sector 4, then Sector 2, then Sector 1, because you're going to get your actual datacrons from it. And then the last priority is Sector 2, because you get a pittance. You only get the Mark 1 leveling material, and you get a terrible amount of data cache. And in Sector 5, you get some reroll mats, which you can get better for Sentinel data. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's my take on energy. It's 5 types, 4 main ones that are always there, but also Cantina Energy. Let me know what you think. If there's something you think I didn't cover well or something I left out, love to hear in the comments. But yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks so much. Bye. And one last thing, don't forget to use my link in the description to check out Saber Universe by the end of May 31st to take advantage of those deals and the personalized engraving. Thanks.